Hi, everybody, and welcome. It's Saturday morning, a little emergency podcast as Tom Brady, after 22 seasons, is retiring, first broken by Adam Schefter and Jeff Darlington. I had said on more than one occasion this week, it was the first time I believe Tom had a greater than 50% chance to retire. He seemed almost satisfied with the way the season ended. Two things that really jumped out to me: how unprepared the Buccaneers looked in their loss to the Rams, completely unprepared in the first half. It was a meltdown. And the second thing that jumps out to me, the Patriots often lost playoff games. Belichick was never unprepared. This has been the knock on Bruce Arians. He runs a very loose ship. It's not tight. It's outspoken, it's edgy, it's big play. Tom is Mr. Efficiency. So you can lose, but Tom's team looked absolutely outclassed, outsmarted, and outmaneuvered. That's something I noticed. Previously to that, I had said multiple times that Tom kept giving us little hints when he was leaving New England, right? Well, he gave us little hints post-Thanksgiving with Tampa. He was frustrated, a lack of focus. People just need to do their jobs. He was giving us hints throughout the course of this season that it wasn't a tight ship. And this is something important to remember. Tom's a creature of habit. Tom loves structure. And Bill Belichick has created the finest structure, Lombardi-esque, Bill Walsh-esque, just longer than anybody in league history. New England wasn't always the best drafting team. They weren't always the most physical team. They weren't always the fastest or most gifted team. They had the best structure. They had the best system. Tom loves that. TB12's a system. It's about structure, his clothing line. That's what Tom, he really met somebody that saw the world like he did. Efficiency, details, outwork, head down, Belichick and Brady. And I think when he went to Tampa, he wanted more control. He wanted more dynamic weapons. He wanted more of a say, and he got that. But he realized with Bruce Arians, there's some give and take here. I think we all know, when I say certain coaches, we know Pete Carroll and Mike Tomlin, heavy on the emotion, not always great on in-game details. We know that Belichick, great on structure, not always good drafting weapons to elevate the quarterback. We know Bruce Arians, big play offense. What do they say? Risk it or no biscuit. Tom got frustrated with that last year. He was frustrated with that last year. And there was that bye and then this melting, this convergence of their offensive belief systems. And Tom won out, and they became a more efficient, short passing, intermediate passing game offense. Tom got mostly what he wanted. He got Gronk, he got Antonio Brown, he got the offense tweaked at the end of last year, and he got a huge break when the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line fell apart and he won the Super Bowl. But I think over the course of time, it's the old grass isn't always greener. After 2 years in Tampa, Tom has his health, but he grew increasingly frustrated with the culture. And, I was very, very fortunate. I lived in the New England area, Patriots country, for 11 years in Connecticut, and I lived in Tampa for 2.5 years. They are completely opposite cultures. And Tom, to me, between Michigan and the Patriots, he felt like he fit in New England sometimes, right? Like Tom, he's not outside at the beach. Tom is sitting there watching film with his smoothies, with his family on his acreage. And he would have fun in Costa Rica or Montana or wherever he has houses. But, the New England weather when I lived there, I said this for years, ESPN benefited from the lack of great weather. What else is there to do? There's nothing to do in Connecticut. You stay extra at work, you grind, you put in the hours. And I just felt like that's Belichick. I don't think of Belichick as a big social animal. He and Brady never had dinner. But I think over time, sometimes you want to be more expressive and you want to have a greater say. And Tom did that. And he proved to himself he could do it. But I think deep down at the end of this year, he missed the academic nature, the intensity, the predictability of Belichick. I think it made him appreciate Bill Belichick more. He always appreciated him, but it made him appreciate him more. And I think Belichick, frankly, after a couple years without Tom, he's not a huggy-kissy guy, but I think he appreciates what Tom brought to the table, the gamesmanship, the urgency. Tom's always been a better thrower of the football than anybody's given him credit for. So I'm not shocked by it. I'm surprised a little, but I said this week I thought it was a greater than 50% chance, and I'd never felt that before. Tom sounded almost satisfied, not relieved, but satisfied the way the season ended. He's a remarkable guy, a remarkable dad. We didn't talk a lot about pre-snap before Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. I talked about this last week. There's been 3 evolutions of quarterback. There was Marino and Elway in 1983, where they were stars the minute they entered the league. They just looked different and played differently. The next evolution was Peyton Manning and Brady, where we never talked about pre-snap. They were manipulating the line of scrimmage before the ball was snapped. And then the third evolution is Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes last Sunday, where we never talked arm angle. We didn't have quarterbacks leaping over people and throwing sidearm and sliders to Tyreek Hill. And Brady's a big part of that. So, I said this a couple weeks ago, and I meant it. Alabama football, Tom Brady, and LeBron James. I don't want to discredit any of the 3, but there's a certain fatigue. And I liked seeing the Rams beat Brady and the Bucs. It was time for a new story. McVay and Stafford's a fun new story. I've said this about Aaron Rodgers. I'd love for him to go to Denver. I feel like the Aaron Rodgers Green Bay story. I've seen it. It's topped out. I think Tom realizes the Tampa story. He left New England frustrated with the lack of weapons. It topped out. He goes to Tampa frustrated with the lack of structure. It's topped out. So Tom's always had a pretty impeccable sense of timing, from in-game to exiting New England to his social media to now in Tampa. I like Tampa. I lived there for a couple of years, but it's Ybor City. It's cocktails early. It's a port city. It's fun. It's loose. And it's one of those, a lot of people go there to golf and retire. It's laid back. And I think in the rearview mirror, Tom's like, you know what? I got a little of both. I lived in New England. I vacationed for a couple years in Tampa, and it's time. Remarkable guy, remarkable career. More when more news breaks. Tom Brady retiring, 22 remarkable years.